Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Wednesday, December 16, 2020. CNN report. Federal judge strikes down Ohio policy prohibiting transgender people from correcting their birth certificate. A federal judge on Wednesday struck down Ohio's policy prohibiting transgender residents from correcting the gender marker on their birth certificate, clearing the way for individuals to alter the document to reflect their gender identity. Judge Michael Watson wrote in his decision that prior to 2016, the state had allowed such changes to be made, but that the new policy, which was instituted by the state's Department of Health in consultation with then Republican Gov.
Deutsche Welle report. EU countries to launch vaccination programs on same day. With pressure mounting on the European Medicines Agency (EMA) to speed up its review of the new BioNTech-Pfizer coronavirus vaccine, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen told European parliamentarians that all 27 member states could be able to begin vaccination programs on the same day, possibly before Christmas. Her speech to the bloc's lawmakers stressed unity and hard work ahead, noting that the EMA has decided to expedite its hearing on the efficacy and safety of the BioNTech-Pfizer vaccine from December 29 up to the 21st. Von der Leyen expressed confidence that the virus could be beaten.
Deutsche Welle report. Most Germans on board with coronavirus lockdown. People in Germany largely support the new lockdown measures even as they enter a new round of hard restrictions, a poll revealed on Wednesday. About 73% of the public support the new measures, in which non-essential shops are closed and students are forced back into remote learning, according to a YouGov survey commissioned by German news agency dpa. Just 20% of respondents said they opposed the new measures, and 7% made no comment.
Fox report. Islamic State widow convicted in Charlie Hebdo, kosher market attacks. Paris. The fugitive widow of an Islamic State gunman and a man described as his logistician on Wednesday were convicted of terrorism charges and sentenced to 30 years in prison in the trial of 14 people linked to the January 2015 attacks in Paris against the satirical Charlie Hebdo newspaper and a kosher supermarket. The verdict ends the 3-month trial linked to the 3 days of killings across Paris claimed jointly by the Islamic State group and al-Qaeda.
BBC report. French police seize 10 tigers after mistreatment complaint. The officers reportedly acted on Wednesday in the northern commune of Blackcourt after receiving complaints that the animals were being mistreated. A judicial investigation has been launched. Local prosecutor Caroline Thoreau is quoted as saying by the Courrier Picard news website, "The big cats will now be cared for by an animal association," it reported. The group claimed the tigers were locked up all year round in a cage lorry, with no real protection against the elements, and with barely enough room to go around in circles.
BBC report. FBI accuses man of al-Shabab led 9/11 style plot. Cholo Abdi Abdullah was arrested on weapons charges in the Philippines last year. Prosecutors have not named which city he allegedly planned to target. According to the FBI, he was being directed by a senior operative in the al-Shabab Somali terror group. He has pleaded not guilty on all charges, Reuters reports. His defense lawyer agreed with the judge on Wednesday that Mr. Abdullah should remain in custody pending a hearing in January.
Fox report. Boy abandoned at Mississippi Goodwill prompts Christmas gift donations, spotlights pandemic-era child abuse. National media coverage about a 2-year-old boy left abandoned at a Goodwill in Mississippi has helped shed light on issues of child abuse and neglect during the pandemic. It has also caused a spike in inquiries from around the country from those wanting to purchase Christmas presents for the boy and other children treated at an advocacy center in the small town of Southaven. Mississippi Child Protective Services (CPS) declined to comment on the specific case involving the 2-year-old boy, who was taken into their custody after he was dropped off at a Goodwill in Southaven, Miss.
Fox report. Georgia babysitter arrested in toddler's death had history of violence, drug use. Report. The Georgia babysitter charged with murdering a toddler who was found allegedly beaten to death earlier this month has a history of violence and drug use, according to a report. Kirsty Flood, a 29-year-old from Smyrna, GA, was charged in 5 separate incidents by the time she was 21, including for battery, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported. Her most recent arrest had been in November 2012, when police pulled her over and found her in possession of drugs, according to the report.
Fox report. Peruvian cops dressed as Santa Claus, elf have last laugh in drug raid. Police Navidad. Peruvian narcs disguised as Santa Claus and his elf were not exactly spreading cheer on a sleigh when they jumped out of an undercover van and broke down the door of a man who made the naughty list, Reuters reported. We are the police. We are the Green Squad. This is an anti-drug operation. One of the agents was captured on video yelling at the hapless suspect in the Villa El Salvador district of Lima.
CNN report. New Zealand inquiry finds 250,000 abused in state and faith-based care. Up to 250,000 children, young people and vulnerable adults were abused in New Zealand's faith-based and state care institutions in the past several decades, a public inquiry revealed on Wednesday. An interim report by the Royal Commission of Inquiry into Historic Abuse of Children in State Care estimated that up to 256,000 people were abused between 1950 and 2019. This accounts for almost 40% of the 655,000 people in care during that period.
CNN report. More than 2 million children in Ethiopia's Tigray region cut off from humanitarian aid, UN says. The United Nations has warned that millions of children are still cut off from aid in Ethiopia's conflict-riven Tigray region, despite promises made by the federal government earlier this month to allow humanitarian agencies access. Some 2.3 million minors are struggling to get basic humanitarian assistance like treatment for malnourishment, critical vaccines, emergency medicines, and water and sanitation supplies, UNICEF, the UN agency responsible for children, said Tuesday.
Deutsche Welle report. China moon probe Chang'e-5 back on Earth. China's Chang'e-5 moon probe has landed in the Sizuing area of Inner Mongolia in the early hours of Thursday local time, China's official state news agency Xinhua reported on Wednesday. The Chinese space capsule is carrying 2 kilograms (4.4 pounds) of samples from the moon's surface. These are the first lunar samples to be brought back to Earth for 44 years. The capsule separated earlier from its orbiter module and performed a bounce off the Earth's atmosphere to reduce its speed before passing through and floating down on parachutes.
CNN report. Cursing aside, Tom Cruise is right. COVID is a big problem for Hollywood. Tom Cruise recently unleashed a profanity-filled tirade on the set of the upcoming Mission Impossible 7 inches after the star of the film reportedly became enraged at crew members for not adhering to social distancing measures. The UK's Sun newspaper reported on an audiotape Wednesday in which Cruise can be heard yelling, "They're back there in Hollywood making movies right now because of us. Because they believe in us and what we're doing, and we are creating thousands of jobs the RF curse."
BBC report. Humboldt Forum, Berlin Museum opens despite criticism over looted art. The Humboldt Forum, which cost more than €677 million $824 million, £610 million, was opening on Wednesday. There has been widespread criticism over the museum housing nearly 20,000 artifacts from Africa, Asia and Oceania, mostly former colonies. But one of the most controversial exhibits won't be seen until next year. The museum plans to house Benin bronzes, valuable sculptures looted from Nigeria by British soldiers in 1897.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. Recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.